good people, how you doing? Welcome to this edition of 254 Rugby. We are talking about the upcoming National Sevens Circuit, which kicks off this weekend with the Christie Sevens in Nairobi. It is part of the SportPesa National Sevens Circuit. And joining me from Nairobi, or actually from Kenya, because Walter, this guy travels around the country, is Walter Orangi. We just want to talk about the National Sevens Circuit. Hi, Walter. It's great to see you.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, it's good to see you.
Me and you did the National Sevens Circuit last year across all 6 legs. It was interesting for me, but now on your end, what was the circuit like in 2023?
Well, you remember, if your memory serves you right, Michael, last year was a very unique year going into the series because remember we had just, we had just been relegated from the World Seven Series, and we were looking forward to, selecting our national seven circuit. Being a platform for the Kenya Sevens team selection. So we're looking forward to at least selecting players for a new phase. We're getting into a new era of local rugby in terms of, getting relegated and also trying to mount a challenge in the coming year. Then the local circuit was a buzz of activity, but I don't think we had the best in terms of what we wanted to have mentally. Because most players were chasing that Kenya Sevens position. We had those coming back from the World Series, freshly relegated, coming back to their teams, the likes of Kaman Humwa and you look at Vincent Onyala, Kelvin Wekesa, Tony Omundi. So it was sort of a series where we had a young and upcoming players raising up their hands, and also we had a crop of senior players who also wanted to go back and also tell us that they can be able to go back to the World Series. So it was a mixed bag of emotions last year.
Absolutely a mixed bag of emotions, but also remember the drama in determining who was going to win the circuit. It was neck and neck, I think, between 3 teams. I can't recall. Was it Oilers, KCB, and Cabras? The title virtually decided at the last tournament. What was it like? Us guys were on the admin side doing all the numbers, but what was it like, especially, emceeing and then also like from the fans' perspective?
Well, I had an opportunity firsthand to be very close to the action as a match day commentator. And yes, like you've rightly pointed out, the battle was between 3 teams initially, but then one actually dropped out. So we eventually had a battle between KCB and Cabras moving into the last fixture, moving into the last leg of the national circuit. From a fan's perspective, it was nerve-wracking because remember, like now the final in Mombasa, where we had Cabras taking on, KCB lost narrowly to Oilers in the semis. Then Oilers made the final, and then they lost it to Cabras. And then the following week we had another nail biter. So it was from a fan perspective, it was really enjoyable to watch the 3 teams go at it. Remember, over the years we've had, 1 or 2 teams going into the final leg of the national circuit, having confirmed that already they're champions. So having a series go neck to neck up until the last kick of the season, I thought it was really interesting, and the competition went up. The levels of competition went up, and just to point it out, it was very, very entertaining for the fans. For the teams, I don't think it is something you point out that it's good for them. But those ones who handle their pressure well, especially experienced sides, enjoy such competition. So, from a fan perspective, it's good. It's good for the game. It's good for the brand. It's good for the fans who don't know much about sevens rugby, and it's important for us to be able to attract them. So such drama is very good for the brand.
Okay, that's just a recap of 2023. The seventh circuit for 2024 was launched on Monday this week. We do know that it kicks off with the Christie Sevens in Nairobi at the RFUA ground. The pools have been announced. What is your take on the Christie Sevens? Who do you think we will see in the Cup quarters on Sunday? And who do you think has the potential of actually lifting the trophy?
Uh, well, Mike, I mean, it's still early days. Looking at where we are. Of course, it's the kickoff. Most teams are really going to look at the balance within their respective squads. You look at the national sevens team, Shuja, who are currently in Paris. They've taken quite a chunk of players from different teams across board. And I don't know much about the returning players who are coming back from the Olympics. Remember, the Olympics will be, I mean, it will be over as early as this coming weekend. So this means that an opportunity for us locally to watch the local boys take on each other without their superstars. I mean, the squad depth is important, and looking at the teams that are raising their hands up moving into this one. I had an opportunity to watch Strathmore Leos over the pre-season where they played in the just concluded Indo Sevens, where they were champions, and I thought Coach Foxy has put together, a young decent side, and as always, Strathmore have always had an opportunity of upsetting the order amongst the big boys when it comes to sevens. I've also had an opportunity to look at the likes of Homeboys. Just to tell you, in terms of depth, they're rebuilding, and I don't think they'll be that mercurial. You remember the Homeboys of the old days, of a couple of years ago, where we had the likes of Mugaisi and company running the show. So it's a brand new side looking at the Homeboys team. Now, Kenya Harlequins, who are hosting this weekend's first leg of the Sportpesa National 7th Circuit, have also undergone quite, a drastic change in terms of their personnel. Looking at the players they have, remember the Simbas are also in camp, so they've taken quite a big chunk of players who are available for Queens. For instance, we have Brian. We have Wangila, Rishel Wangila, who's been called up by the Simbas. We have we have Boy Paul Misami, who was very instrumental for Queens last year. He's with the Simbas. So I think Coach Paul Murunga will look at his result players. Now we have two teams that we have to consistently talk about. We have KCB and we have Kabranch. Now, KCB, if you look at the squad depth in terms of the players that they have, even with the lack of Vincent Omala or Samuel Asati, or even Smadi, that is Festus Shiasi, they still have quite a decent squad and an experienced squad. And remember, they've also just bought a couple of players from the Menengai Oilers. They took in Davis Nyaundi, who's a very good sevens player. They've also brought in Floyd Wabuire from Daystar, who's a very good, flashy player. Looking at their signings, you tell that they're trying to bolster their squad. Now, Cabras, on the other hand, have have this habit of just coming up with players from nowhere. You don't know where they're coming from. KCB tends to buy players
Walter Bana,
who have
be kind
established
to
them.
Cabras. Be kind to Cabras. When you say they have this habit, it's like at least rephrase your English. Me and you are both people who speak in public, right? And the way you use your words is critical. So I'd rather say at least they have this
Yeah.
knack to unearth players. It sounds a lot more decent. When you
Yeah.
say they have this habit,
Yeah.
man. Anyway, continue.
Now, it's good you brought it up. Anyway, like you mentioned, they tend to have this ability to go scout players from the. Remember, it's a rich Western belt where there is quite a lot of rugby, and they have set up the recruitment far and wide within the region. So it's important for them to consistently, through the conveyor belt, get players to come. And I hope that English is correct this time around. So yeah, so Cabras will always get players to come through, and I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, is it going to be a battle really between Cabras and KCB? Unless we get to see the squads named for match day one, I don't think the battle is going to be left between KCB and Cabras. I want us to look at the pools. Mike, if you can actually just take me through pool A,
Yeah, shortly,
if you have
shortly.
them on your screen.
Yeah, I'm actually pulling them up. Just give me a minute. I know Pool A at the Christie Sevens. We do have. I'm bringing them up. We have KCB, Nondis, Homeboys, and Impala. Let's just quickly talk about Pool A.
Pool A Nondis. We have KCB Nondis.
KCB, Nondis, Homeboys, and Impala.
Okay. Now, Pool A, as you've rightly mentioned, we have KCB who are defending champions. We have Nondis who have the ability to always stay alive. You remember last year they won the Eldoret leg of the National Seven Circuit, Mike.
Absolutely.
And then we have Impala who are freshly promoted to the Kenya Cup League, but are also rebuilding. So we're looking at a relatively a weakened Impala side as compared to the many years that they've been in the local 7 series. And then we have Homeboy. Now,
How
this
come?
pool is very
How,
interesting, and I see.
sorry again to interject. How come you say it's a relatively weakened Impala side? I know that there's been transitions, but I just need to understand your thinking.
Well, my thinking is as you look at Impala, who have consistently competed in the top leagues of this country, looking at who they have on their roster right now, I wouldn't say that they are as strong as the yesteryears we've known Impala to be, but relatively weak in terms of the squad strength. That's what I mean by that.
Okay, now let's go into Pool B. Okay, now pulling up Pool B shortly on your screen. It has, as we mentioned earlier, it has Kabras, Nakuru, Kisumu, and the Catholic monks. And just before we continue, Walter, at this point in time, we mentioned Kisumu. A good friend of Kisumu Rugby, she's been a former organizing secretary, Rita Onyango, passed away last week. A good friend as well. Is of course sad. We're just taking a moment to treasure her memories, her advice, the banter that we shared. A great person has rested.
Yes, I can hear you. It rightly pointed out. I think I was giving her 1 minute of silence, but anyway, that's fine. We can
Sorry,
do it
sorry, sorry.
later.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
So, Pool
Yes.
B.
Rita. Yes. So yeah, talking about Pool B, we have Kabras, Nakuru, Kisumu, and Monks. Now, Kabras have a tournament this year. It is very special that Kabras have an event of their own. I mean, they've been the boss around for the last couple of years in terms of local 15s, and ideally, that's a good destination for sevens rugby. We also have Nakuru, who also have a tournament themselves. That's the Princely Sevens, and we also have Kisumu, who have a tournament themselves. So we have 3 teams who are tournament hosts and monks. So ideally, we have a Nakuru side that nobody knows so much about because they've sort of flew under the radar. There has been a couple of changes at Nakuru. I hear Oscar Ouma is going to be in charge of the 7 series for the Wanyore side. I mean, we also have a team in the name of Catholic monks. I've had an opportunity to watch Catholic monks twice this season. I had an opportunity to watch them at the Metropolitan Sevens, which was held a couple of weeks ago, and also at the just concluded Embu Sevens, where they were finalists. Remember, Quer won the Met Sevens and came in second in Embu. So, I mean, they've built their preseason very well. They've had quite a number of games in terms of preseason, getting ready for the circuit. And pointing out teams like Catholic Monks are those teams that banana peels. Like if you sleep and actually you sleep on your job on day one, you will definitely find yourself playing ball category in day two of the tournament. So this pool, I'd give Brass an opportunity up top. The battle for second will be between Nakuru and Monks. And I strongly feel that Catholic Monks might come in second in this one. That is from what I've been able to see. And remember, Nakuru has also lost a couple of players to illness.
Certainly. And
So it's something.
yeah, and you talk about the Catholic monks, and I agree, very difficult team to play. They just have this reputation for making life difficult for their opponents. They're always just there, some sort of spoiler. That like if you've got a little brother, that pesky little brother that just refuses to go away. That's the Catholic monks for you.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see how they play. And like you said, they did show up during the build-up tournaments, the Metropolitan Sevens, I believe. You said they were finalists there. Let's see if they can carry that form into the National Sevens circuit. Now, let's go into, I think we're done with Pool B, right? Now, Pool C, Strathmore Leos, KU Blackblood, Queens, and Daystar Falcons. Isn't that not a crazy pool?
Yes, like you pointed it out, it's a crazy pool. Strathmore Leos, Black Blood Queens, and Daystar is to me the pool of death for this Christie Sevens. And looking at Strathmore, they'll always be there playing good sevens rugby. They're a varsity side and well coached. I mean, a couple of changes at coaching level from last season to this season. But the transition hasn't really been as mass as one would think, because the same players are retained across a number of years because they're an institution, and it's easy for transitioning from one coach to another because the personnel is literally the same. So it's just for you to impart your knowledge and skills into the playing unit. Black Blood is also another very interesting team. Because Blood will always compete. Blood and Strathmore and Daystar will always compete when it comes to sevens, because you look at their programs are tailored well around the players who come through our high schools. Strathmore Tech, most of the players. Daystar Falcons has also come up with a program for education, and also we have Blackblood, who also taking a number of players from, these talented institutions. So I strongly believe that Kenya Harlequins is touching themselves into, they're caught in between a varsity affair, but they are hosting. Let's not forget that they are hosting, so they'll have to put their best foot forward. So the casualties here are going to be, for me, we're going to have Kenya Harlequins making the cup quarters. We're also going to have Strathmore Leos challenging for that slot. So the banana peel here is going to be Daystar Falcons. Daystar Falcons have been known for that expansive play with the likes of Patrick Odongo on the wing and Floyd Wabwire probably at center. Now, it's interesting to see how they're going to transition, having lost the duo, Patrick Odongo, who's with the Kenya Sevens, and then Floyd, who's transferred to KCB. But I believe Coach Bosire, I looked at them during the season, still quite a formidable side, but going to lack the firepower, that strike power that they had over the years. and rightly so. That's why I'm putting them either third or fourth in the pool play for Pool C.
Wow, those it looks interesting, and I'm sure we will be comparing notes on that pool the next time we catch up. Now let's
Yeah.
head into Pool D. Pool D, the Menengai Oilers, Mwamba, Masinde Muliro, and the University of Eldoret Trojans.
Most UAE. Well, Mike, this is a very good pool, but it has three strong competitors, and then maybe a banana peel, like we just consistently said in the name of UAE. I mean, I'm looking at Menengai Oilers. They had they had a preseason friendly a couple of weeks ago at Kenya Harlequins. Not actually weeks ago. It actually was 2 weeks ago at the Kenya Harlequins. And Oilers were a decent. They were a decent side, and they looked really ready in terms of sevens rugby. And always, just one thing I need to point out is the fact that players coached by Gibson Weru or teams that play under Gibson Weru, under the tutelage of Gibson Weru, will always have that ability to show the skill level. You know, they play that expansive rugby. The skills will always be developed. Catch, pass. You know how. I mean, the basics of the game will always be something of a factor when it comes to Gibson. So, I mean, Pool D is very interesting because Masinda Muliro is a team that nobody wants to play, really.
Yeah,
Because ideally, it's more of another Cabral side. They're very physical. They're very direct in how they play their sevens rugby. And for anyone who would come up against them, really, you have to be prepared mentally and physically going into battle with them. Another customer I would like to point out is Mwamba. Mwamba,
we had lost you for a second, and I picked it up, but you can continue.
yeah, sorry about that slight technical issue. Well, so Mike, I was talking about Pool D, and I was talking about Mwamba. I mean, looking at Mwamba, they've transitioned. We don't really know much about their squad depth, but being one of the hosts of this year's National Sevens, I believe Mwamba will be in the running for at least a cup quarterfinal appearance. And playing at Kenya Harlequins, they have to either make sure that they beat Masinde Muliro and UOE. And playing Moose, like we said, Moose is a very interesting customer. So at the end of the day, I foresee this pool being a fight between the Oilers, Mwamba, and Moose. So match day one, it's important for Oilers to get the wins in the bag. Mwamba will also look to get 3 wins. So accidentally for UOE, they find themselves in a pool where they have to fight their way around. They've been promoted. They were the last winners of second division. That is the Sport Person National Second Division, Sport Person National Seventh Circuit Second Division. So it's a baptism of fire. It's an opportunity for them to play the big boys. But I don't see them making the cup quarters. So for my pool, this selection for the cup quarters, I would go with Oilers and Mwamba Arabs.
Great. Well, it's been great previewing the Sport Person National Sevens Circuit opening round, which is the Christie Sevens. It's been great talking about what it was last year. Walter, as we come to a close, what are the things you are looking forward to during the 2024 National Sevens Circuit?
Well, first and foremost, I'm looking forward to a vibrant local seven circuit. I mean, looking at the quality of rugby that we are expected as a nation to provide. Because remember, this is where we get players to go and compete for Kenya in the World Seven Series. And ideally, our strength is our local seven circuit in terms of our seven capacity. So I'm looking at squads who've transitioned. There's quite a number of players, Michael, who are coming through the clubs. Very good attacking prowess, very good defenders. We're looking at players who are able to consistently transition or adapt to very many challenges that come their way. But I'm also interested in looking at the technical ability of most of our big teams. That is looking at how we play the game. Michael, today we witnessed the Olympics kickoff. We've had an opportunity to look at the quality of rugby that we are able to provide or showcase in the world to the world in terms of the Olympics, and that is where we need to improve. Those are the small things we need to really improve, and improving those things starts with us being able to know that we can be able to consistently retain the ball, ask questions of the defenses, various defenses that come our way, and also be able to execute our set pieces, especially the kickoff part where if you can't really be able to get or retain possession, you cannot be able to play sevens rugby. It has been evident that the Kenya sevens team has been struggling over in Paris in terms of the kickoffs, the restarts. And so I believe the homework is really cut out for the coaches locally to try and see if we can be able to consistently fetch for that ball when it's kickoff time. And another thing that I also need to point out very clearly is I'm looking forward to an entertaining brand of rugby where we are able to expansively use the pitch instead of going into the man most of the time like we're used to locally, playing into space. So it's the adaptability and the ability to grow into a mature rugby player. So I need to look at our local players and see if they are really able to get onto the world stage and also perform. So from a player's perspective, it should be a very good local seven series. We've had quite a couple of weeks in terms of preparations. For the fans, I'm also looking forward to us being able to put
You
more in
mentioned
terms
the
of.
fans. It's good you mentioned the fans. Yes.
Yes, yes. It's important that the fans are entertained because, Michael, remember, we need the fans to come back or come to the stadium. I don't want to use the word come back because we are looking to attract the Gen Zs of this world, the younger generation who've come through with with an opportunity to watch something exciting. So the more exciting our rugby is, the more numbers we are able to attract. So it should be a very, very interesting 2024 Sport Pesa National Sevens.
Absolutely. And I'll leave with one comment. Rugby is back. The rugby sevens is back. You're going to laugh, but it's coming. It's coming. Eldoret was crap last year, man. Let's never have another Eldoret like that. It's great to see it back in Kakamega. I know it's going to be thrilling, and I hope that atmosphere away from the field is maintained throughout the circuit. But let's never see another Eldoret. Me, that's how I end it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well,
That is your point.
yeah. Well, it's been great having you on this preview of the National Seven Circuit. We definitely are going to compare notes. And to everybody who's watching, remember this is 254 Rugby. We're just going to be talking about rugby in Kenya, Africa, and wherever there's rugby being played. But for now, thank you so much, Walter Orangi. And for everybody else who tuned in, remember you can always subscribe. For now, I just want you to stay safe wherever you are. If it's nighttime, then good night. If it's during the day, good day. Anyway, take care. Let's catch up soon.